Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We are back in here again. All right, so uh, I didn't get much done this morning. I actually came in, just did a couple things. I spent about 10 minutes out here this morning before I went to bed. Um, Pretty long night, so anyhow, one of the things I wanted to do was go ahead and lay out and drill these two front holes. This is going to be for where the AC is going to be coming in from up underneath the chassis itself and into where the circuit breakers are. So, um, I had these laid out last night. Just got through drilling them just before we did the live feed. That way I could go ahead and clean up the mess and stay a little cleaner tonight as far as on what we've got going on. But if this is your first time on our YouTube channel, we'd really greatly appreciate it if you'd hit the like and subscribe button. We engage in a lot of different activities here on the page, all related to some form of electronics. Hello, Mr. BBI. Yes, 1000 amp. Cool. Yeah, well, I mean, it's not the first, it's not the first. Hopefully, it's not the last, but yeah, we're actually building with the 100 amp modules. So I actually don't have a buyer for this at the moment. So I'm actually just building this because I've had a lot of people ask. And I thought, well, if nothing else, I'll use this one for myself. So anyhow, let's get started, right? All right, so one of the things that I want to do, I'm going to do things a little different on this. As I told you guys, the primary AC that's going to be coming up and feeding this is going to actually be coming up through these two ports into two separate breakers, mainly because I couldn't find exactly what I wanted. So I ordered two separate breakers. So it's actually going to be kind of two separate halves, but we're actually going to make our own shorting bar and create a double, a double breaker for both halves of this pallet is the way we're going to actually set this up. So basically, I want to get my wire cut for the AC side today. So I'm going to go ahead and take one of these apart. And I know pretty well where everything's going to hit at since we're going to be centering the two circuit breakers here in the middle. So, we're going to kind of figure ourselves a little extra and figure out what we're going to need from here to here. I think what I'm actually going to do is the AC wire is going to start out from the outside. They're actually going to work to the middle. So they're going to cascade into themselves into the center. So, hello, Wild Bill. Yes, this is my first one with the 1200 SBs. That is correct, Luke. With the 4000 amp. Oh my God. Well, I would love to do a 4000 amp version. I don't think my building would handle that kind of power, but you got to run. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Luke. Like I said, hopefully, hopefully you'll pop back in there here and then fairly near future again. Would love to have you in here every time. Especially whenever you have time to give us a call during the live feeds. I know everybody loves to hear from you as well. But anyhow, I know you got to run. Take care, big guy. We will see you on the next live feed. So anyhow, let's get this apart. Let's start getting some wire. Because one of the other things too that you're going to see is we're also going to be using the high current Teflon wire that I ordered. So, and the reason why I say high current is because of the type of material that it's actually made out of. It is silver plated, but that's not what makes it the high current. What makes it high current is the fact that it has a nickel base, which allows for heavier current draws. Now, granted, it's way overkill for each individual module, um, but I have it, so let's use it. I've got about 5,000 feet of it, so I need to put it to good use. The best part about it, since I made the winding rack the other day, I'm able to put it onto spools. Listen to my wife send me a message. I'm able to pull it right off the rack up above my head here and kind of go from there. So the best part is I can always cut off whatever I don't use. Give myself about another inch longer here. It's easier to cut off than it is to add back on. Would you use all 2879 transistors for a 2x8 in a different driver pill needed? Or is it different? Yeah, actually, you would want to use a different transistor for the driver on that. For some reason, I've seen people build both with the 2879Cs all the way across the board. Honestly, I would probably use a set of MRF 454s. They've got great audio, tons of output power, and you're going to get plenty of performance just out of using the 454s. I do have a few of the 2879s. Primarily the three that I carry. I mean, I've got some of the 1446s that I keep on stock for repair, the 2290s. I only keep just a few of those again for repairs. The regular 2879s, the C series, and then the 454s. The three primaries are obviously the 454s, the regular 2879s, and 2879C. So, just to give you an idea anyways. But now, the other side of that too, Bruce, I will tell you that, depending on biasing habits, the 2-pill, 4-pill configurations do very well with the 2879s and the biasing. You can do the 8-pill with those, and they seem to still be, for the most part, okay. But I know anything larger than an 8-pill, you definitely, I won't even bias anything larger than an 8-pill, just because of the headaches that go along with that. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't even want to do biasing because, it is difficult, especially if you're going to try to make it much larger than that. There's a lot more variables and a lot more factors that go into building that. It is so nice to be able to reach up above my head and pull down wire. That was kind of a shock to see BBI pop in there. He must have been looking for something online or what have you. But sometimes he surprises me and he pops in. He still checks up on me from time to time to see how I'm doing on things. Oh, that's even better if it's a straight 8 or a straight 2x8. I don't know why, but for the last couple of years, I've noticed I've been doing a lot of red and blue for power. I've also been doing a lot of blue and brown on different supplies and stuff like that. I mean, I've got multiple different varieties of colors, and I like to try to do something a little different each time, and trying to find something that's different than what everybody else is doing too. So, but at the same token, going back to that, even um, pull this wire down here a little bit more. Um, I also use, I'm not going to say necessarily exotic materials in a lot of my builds, but I do use um, much different than a lot of people do as well. For some applications, I use silicone wire, depending on the application. Sometimes it's just a neat factor more so than anything. But I don't have any one. I don't have any one standard that I use. But for example, with this, silver plated nickel wire that I use here, um, for my primary AC, it's still overrated at 600 volts. Let's see how many we're at here. I don't go crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 3 more cuts. But where these look so much identical to regular Teflon wire, which, like I said, there's no difference other than the makeup of the wire itself. But I'm very careful, and I've got these 2 particular wires marked very, very, very well. Which it's not going to bother you if you're using this. I know in 2-pill, 4-pill configuration. I haven't tried it in anything larger than that, but I know because of the potential magnetic properties, it could cause some issues on, an RF platform. So again, I got to be careful on what I use it on. Okay. I think I just need one more, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yes, one more. $4,000 amp. Who in the world is insane enough to have a 4,000 amp low voltage DC power supply? I mean, I can see like 12 or even 13, maybe even a 1500. Good Lord, 4,000 amps. That's insane. That is insane. One by 4, 2 by 8, 4 by 16. Hello, Brian. How you doing, buddy? Let me get this wire rolled up above my head here. Alrighty. I think that's for my reminder to get up, but let me double check here. Yep. Okay, get with that later. So, I think I already answered your question on that, Bruce. With the 2x8. But yeah, 2x8. Either or. I would say either or. I've got so many of those that I've saved up that I don't have any use for those. Actually, I'm gonna try. After I can come back, I can always come back on those. I've got more of these plugs on order because I don't have quite enough, but we're gonna get through what I've got here. I ordered some of these off of eBay, and I wound up throwing about 10 of these away on these little plugs that we've been using. And the reason why is because the way the inside was made. I came across this when I was trying to power up one of the modules. I sat there and had noticed that there are two different versions of these on the inside, and the other version that I had purchased unknowingly, thankfully I only bought like 7 of them, but because of the way the pinout was made when you went to plug them in, because I took it all apart because I thought, well, I had a dead module. Well, I plugged 4 modules in and all 4 of them showed dead. It's like, what's going on? Well, I grabbed a different cord at that time, tried that as far as just a regular plug in the wall, and they all worked fine. So I wound up investigating, took the plugs apart, and when you go to plug them in, the other ones, the way they had designed them, your main bar here that goes from your solder terminal here up to your pinch point, if you will, that goes onto the pins. You'd slide this all the way in, and the pin was setting right at the edge of the connector. So no matter how hard you pushed it in, you were never going to actually make physical contact on the inside, the way they had them set up. And the difference as far as on the physical part of it that you could see was these actually have physical nuts on the back. The other ones, they looked really nice, but they were domed, almost like an acorn nut that was recessed flat into it. So that's what the difference was on the physical outside, but the inside, totally different, even different type of material. So, I just threw those in the trash, ordered some more. But I thought I had ordered enough to cover all the modules that I've got, but apparently I didn't. So, but part of that too had to do with the fact that trying to figure out what ones I needed to actually buy in order to go ahead and get this all taken care of. Okay. So, yeah. I'm only like too short for this project here, but yeah, we're just going to wire up 5 of these because that'll give us more than enough for what we're working on tonight. The others should be here in just a day or so, so not too worried about that. I've got plenty of other work to do to this, between cutting out the holes in the face, cutting out the holes for the back for the for that thing. For the main lugs, which I think on this one, and generally when I go up to 1,000 amp, 800 to 1,000 amps, that's whenever I really like using, the brass studs, a little bit more, a little more girth to them. Let's see. I was going to show you, but I've got more of those on order too. Yeah, I've actually went through enough power supply stuff here recently that I actually had to place an order for stud mounts. Teflon, chop chop. You need some 18 gauge wire ASAP, huh? Well, you know how to get a hold of me. If I can make one more decent sale, I am actually going to order. I don't have a lot to offer on the 18 gauge early. I can sell you what I currently have on hand, but I do have a little bit of gray. I've got some not too ugly green, and then white. Oh, and I do have a little bit of your favorite color, orange, in the 18 gauge. But that is the green that I've got. It's not an army green, but it's not. It's just kind of a pale green. But I've got a few 100 feet of that, a few 100 feet of white, 10 feet to 100 feet. Okay. Let's see, one more. Yeah, just let me know. I've got I got some other stuff that I'm going to give you too. I've got sitting over here to the side. Yeah, if I was just doing 2 of these modules, maybe even 3, I'd probably just order those cheap little computer plug-ins that are about 3-4 foot long. Just trim the end off of them, mainly because of the fact that all I'd have to do is strip one end and it'd be ready to go, instead of physically making every piece of this. So let's see the crabs. Oh, okay. Yeah, you already have the crabs. Yeah. No, where I went ahead and refilled my spool. I had a couple of small spools. This is a small spool of white 16 gauge. Um, it's one of the smaller ones, Anyways, I figured I'd send you this. You can fit about 50, 50, 60 feet on one of these. But I figured I'd send you one of these because this is the old small spool that I'd been using for a while. But it's the last of the white that I have because I am going to order. I think I am going to order about 300 feet of white if they'll let me get that small of amount. Um, but I'm going to send you what I have left in 16 gauge white, and where I went ahead and went ahead and refilled my spool. I pulled off because I had another one of these little bitty spools like this, and I needed it for some 22 gauge. So uh, this is going in your care package there early. But I am glad to know that you have the crabs. It's the itch that keeps on giving, right? Oh, by the way, early, depending on what you need, I also have, yeah, just write down the info. As far as on the Zachary, yeah, remind me that I'll have to actually look up and see if I even have it. Like I said, I know if the radio's physically in front of me, I know I can do it. Um, because there are some notes that are, locked up inside the noggin of the brain that I just don't have. Also, if you need primary wire, I do have primary wire. Again, that's rated for 600 volts. That's actually relatively inexpensive because it's only like 16 cents a foot. Set those off for now. I have to clean off my workbench again too, guys. And still, damn it. Let's see. I'll send it to you. Let's see. 2,200 foot of single pair 22 gauge. Well, I might be interested because I've got a bunch of that as far as you can tell, Bruce. 128. What's the price? 128 of what? Of course, if 3 buys it, that's good too. Yeah, I am not poor when it comes to having wire on hand. Yeah, I know Early's in more of a need in it than I am, that's for sure. Yeah, because I just ordered in the single, I just ordered about 5,000 more feet. So I mean, I've got probably 15,000 of the 22 gauge, so not hurting for that. Oh, okay. Yeah, if you want to do that too, that way it's not so much on you at one time. Yeah, I just don't like peeling it apart. Which, I mean, if you're using it for 2 pills and uh, just basically amplifiers that you have an on off, that that would be pretty much ideal right there. Yeah, even though I'm awake, I still keep my alarm set for that. Get out of bed, stupid. You're oversleeping. There's been times that I've been so tired that I have not got up my regular time, and I just keep on sleeping. but I use the Alexa primarily as my alarm clock, and then I also have my phone. So I set my alarms on multiple different devices. Yeah, that's all pretty much I use anymore. I mean, I do have some, other stuff that's, vinyl or that PVC for the inside of radios. But, that's even getting kind of skittish anymore. That one didn't pull down on the hole like all the others. Must have had the hole clamped off too tight. What are you smelling over there, Three Maid? Yeah, we had rain all day yesterday. Well, more drizzle than anything. Two more. I'm going to start some of this other layout. Raining bad. Now, rain is good. Makes the crops grow. Farmers like that around here. Let's get some cleaner and clean that off. As far as some of that flux. You know, this is the only thing that's kind of nice about the 40 amp modules versus using these. Is you don't have to wire the plugs. You just stick the wire in there, turn the screw, and you're done. But with everything, I mean, we've got advantages and disadvantages on every platform that we work with too. So, in this case, I'm building 1,000 amp power supply in a case that's about half of what I would have used for, uh, you know, for a 1,000 amp power supply too. So, there is that. Hello, Joe. Joe Obama. Well, I don't think that was me, Joe. It might have been 3. Because the name doesn't quite ring a bell with me, anyways. It was 3. Yeah. Now I figured it was 3. But he's kind of the jokester out of the bunch of us too. Yeah, Bruce, if you're still in there, this I think was the original cabinet that we had ordered when we went to do your 800 amp power supply that you have over there. I think that's what we actually went with, was this one originally. And, once we started doing some, gazentas and everything, it's like, well, we're not going to be able to get that all to fit. So, this thing's been, wrapped up in saran wrap, and I've had this one in stock that long. I used to keep several cabinets like this on hand. And I mean, I've still got several cabinets, not of the big girthy size like this, but back in the day, I used to order a couple at a time and keep them on hand. Yeah, my wife would be happy I've been drinking water. That is definitely an Asian thing. Granted, I like my Coca-Cola, and she gives me fits about drinking a Coke, but I know she wants me healthy. That's her primary goal. She wants me healthy. She wants me around for a few more years. Yeah. She said if it kills me, she's going to keep me alive for at least 50 years. Hopefully in 50 years, I'm still able to do stuff like this. Of course, I'd settle for just another 25 years of being able to do stuff like this. Yeah, this is the only thing that's really bad about doing something like this live. As there's a lot of it that does get kind of boring because you've got a lot of repetitive motion in regards to each action. Um, because you have to multiply it in this case times a factor of 10. For the 10 modules. Um, so wiring up these plugs, there's going to be 10 of these, which, we're only doing five of these tonight. And then, we're going to go on to the next stage and start getting some of the other stuff done as well. I need to get the layout yet for the back end so that we know how long to cut our wiring for, the DC side of this. Yeah, I built a huge 600 amp power supply. Oh, geez, several years ago. And now that one, instead of using regular wire, because I wanted to prove a point that it could be done, which granted I used a lot of Teflon wire, and I do mean a lot. But each module, I wound up running, multiple strands of 16 gauge for, the DC side, and this was back when, the 30 amps were the most popular modules to get a hold of. So, you can imagine, each module had like four of them. Granted, the wires were only about, 14, 16 inches long because I had set up two bus rails on the inside and the power supply modules, all the wires came into the middle. I had two nice big copper bars that went across here, and everything was soldered on those copper bars. It wasn't the this copper clad stuff like this that I'd used. I mean, I actually used a copper, physical copper bar. Uh, it's probably $100 worth of copper in there today, and soldered everything to that, and then had my main power leads. I had three of them on each side, that went all the way to the back to the main, to the main uh, ba, 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 to the main lugs on the back. So, but to give you guys an idea here, as this kind of goes into play. I'll just set two modules up here. Turn them over. I'm gonna push them in super tight all the way. This will give you guys kind of an idea of what it's going to look like here in a minute. But anyways, the wire is going to be wrapped up over we're going to come up underneath the bottom. Like I said, you got to kind of use your imagination until everything gets kind of tied into place. But this is going to go up here like so, and then to our breakers on the front. So anyhow, we've got that part squared away. I'll probably work on this section of it here and get this part here knocked out probably in the morning when I get off work. All right, so let's get things started on the layout for the back plate. Your power supply is 20 amp. Okay, so you use 20 amp modules then for yours. Yeah, I'm always mailing 3-made funny boxes. But I think what I'm going to wind up doing on this one, is again, it's going to have, it's going to have a fan in it. I think this one, I think I'm going to use one of these grills that I got from Mr. Carlock. I don't know if he just made me all, I think he made me all 20 millimeter fan grills. Yep. Didn't know if he made me any 92 millimeters or not. But, as big as what this is, we're going to use a 120 millimeter fan anyways. So. Can't believe he actually even put these all in individual little baggies like that. But anyways, I think this is going to be a very nice fitting project where we're going to put a custom grill cover on it. So somebody can thank Mr. Carlock whenever they actually purchase this, because this is going on there. Okay. size connector I'm going to need for the power cable. Bigger than that. Bigger than that one. They say the third time's the charm. Let's get the scale out here. Let's see, because we've also got that lip that's going to be down here too, so I'm going to have to go through double thickness when I go to do this. So I'll actually bolt this together once I actually go to drill it and put my physical connector in there. Let's see how far down that tab goes. It's 50 millimeter. Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay, so that's the bottom of that. Okay. Let me put my pen up. Yeah, for the most part, everything's going to be symmetrical on this. It just has to do with the way everything wound up laying out. Hello, squirrel. Mr. Nobody. Yeah, we'll have to say Mr. Carlock did a very good job on these. Yep, Rainmaker Customs. Kind of the bullseye. So, all right. So that'll hit right there. I'm just debating on if I want to actually put it there, if I actually want to bring my cord over here, because I know my power wires, I mean, nothing's going to be seen on the bottom. And I still may do that because I haven't made that for sure. But as far as the other, that is going to be, which that is something else. I need to put another roll of tape up here. Yeah. There we go. What I need to do is see if I can find somebody with a 3D printer and cut me out something similar to my Made in America sticker, Made in USA or Made in America, and then put Rainmaker's Customs around the edge of it. You know, make the little cutouts and stuff like that for the star, for the shield. You know, it was one of those where I wanted something different whenever I went to the label maker and had some new labels designed and made for here in the shop. I went ahead and had had him make me these labels because I wanted something different than what everybody else was using, but I still wanted something that screamed Americana. And to me, you know, from childhood on, Captain America was always one of my biggest heroes. Um, you know, dressed up in the red, white, and blue suit, which I mean, a lot of the superheroes back when we were children, you know, that was the whole big theme. Um, you know, but there was something about Captain America that I always really, really liked. So I decided to go ahead. Well, if I've got to have, you know, if I'm going to have some labels made, let's go this direction here. So anyhow, back to our project here. Let's see, that's going to be bolted there. So, inch and a half. Let's see. Let's get the other one because the other one's in standard instead of metric. I go back and forth depending on some of the layouts that I do because sometimes it's easier to go off of metric than it is standard. Come on. All right. So that's going to be my go-to line. Yeah, I've had some people tell me that I take it a little too far on my layouts. All right, so my big thing is for the exhaust ports, I can't go below this line. If I do, that means I've got to punch out holes in the bottom part and then punch out holes down here so that it can be pushed. It's not worth it. Not worth it. And then let's see here. What size hole do I want to use? I think we're going 5/8. Let's see. So 5/8 is 625 thousandths. So we'll make our center line of 1/2 inch. That way it gets me above that line once the hole's cut. I'd rather be just a fraction high. That way I don't wind up with any other unwanted surprises. You like G.I. Joe? Your superhero's Trump now. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with G.I. Joe. Nothing wrong at all. Okay. Yeah, I'll just leave that for now. Let's see. Alrighty, so where we are at now, guys. Obviously, I got to snap out these holes. I've got to cut the holes. I think I'm going to do four across the top, two for the DC positive, and then two for the negative. Mainly that way we can go ahead. Where's it at? That way we can hang our shunt on the inside just like that. But anyhow, guys, it is the dreadful 9 o'clock, which means it is time for me to head to work. So I'll finish out the layout as far as on this. We'll do the same thing over here for the positive. I found that in most cases, instead of trying to put or use just one big 1-inch bolt for 1,000 amps, generally most people have things broke down into 2 leads, or it's easy to go ahead and do that in order to give you multiple bonding points on that. You actually wind up with more surface area that makes contact here whenever you're able to do that. And then for the test, I'll probably have to sit down and make up a special plug just to hook onto this so that we can hook up the load tester. Because I want to definitely go across both terminals whenever I do the load test. But where I now have a new version like what Luke has, the big Viking 1000 amp, we'll be able to put a load test on this and run that up when we're all said and done. But anyhow, guys, I got to get out of here. Take care. God bless. 73s to everybody. We'll catch you on the next live feed.